What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls podcast coming up right now. On today's show, the Bulls reconvened today after their All-Star break with a practice. We heard from Wes Unseld Jr., Josh Giddey, and Modest Buzelis. We will talk about that. Sounds like the new guys are going to get some help. Reinforcements on the way with some of the incumbent Bulls players who have been on the shelf with injury. Could be back in action as soon as tomorrow night's game against Toronto. We'll wrap things up with a look at the latest front office power rankings from CBS Sports. AK went up, y'all. Technically. Next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our CHGO Xfinity Loft here in downtown Chicago. CHGO Bulls brought to you by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app with code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Thanks for being here. Hit that like button if you're hanging out with us on YouTube. It's free, and it's lovely. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Day. Bow. BAWL Sports. Bow. Will, the GOAT. Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb, and our guy, King of the Controls, the one and only Joey C. Joey C. You excited for a return to Bulls basketball?
Second half basketball. Front office shooting up the charts. Giddey's coming back. Reinforcement City. Let's ride.
Yeah.
It's all coming together, Joey.
Oh,
everything's coming up Millhouse.
Oh, the C is for controlled optimism. Look at
Contrived optimism.
He's a contrarian.
Excuse me. Coming up with useless and overused C words is AK's thing. Don't be stepping on any toes.
Oh, no, man. He got to hand that over, bro. He got other things he need to be dealing with. All right, sir? Please.
Now it's completely blank slate. That's the news.
Clean slate. How's everybody doing?
Really good.
Solid Wednesday.
Very solid Wednesday.
Bulls pod on a hump day, and just a little over 24 hours removed from the Bulls back in action.
Nice outside. You got the Burks out today.
Burks are out.
How good did that feel?
Bless it.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Yeah?
It's February 18th.
Yeah.
I think this is just a little one-day sojourn from them.
It is.
For them out of my front hall closet.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go back to sleep for a while probably.
So, yeah.
But, man, this feels good.
That's why I didn't take him out of prison today. I kept the legs in like, nah.
You didn't want the tease.
Like I told him, man, I'm not teased. You know what I mean? I'm going to give it to you, all right? I'll give the people what they want, but it's got to be consistent.
I mean, my weather app told me it was 67 degrees when I was getting ready to leave the house. I was like, done.
Done. He's putting them on.
Done freaking deal.
Nope, I won't.
Blew past the 50-degree rule.
Yeah, way past.
What's the 50-degree rule?
That's when my Birch and O bursts.
The Burks out.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the threshold. If it's above 50 degrees and will likely remain above 50
degrees of
upon my
separation.
return home,
Okay.
wherever I'm going, I will rock the Burks.
Okay, that's very fair.
Sub 50, the toes start to get a little chilly.
50 degrees of separation.
I hope you get home before, about like 7 o'clock. Because it's going to change.
And we've had enough bad big toe injuries this year, so just protect that big toe.
Shout out Zach Collins. Speaking of Bulls injuries, we heard some positive news after their team's practice today. Not about Zach Collins, or I don't know if there was any talk about Collins from Unseld Jr. or anybody else, Goat, but we did hear from Josh Giddey and from Modest. We're going to play a little clip of Giddey in a second, but as far as just injury report, I checked earlier today. Their injury report for the Raptors game tomorrow hadn't been released yet, at least as of earlier today, the preliminary one. But it sounds like y'all got some pretty decent confirmation, or at least optimistic planning, that Giddey, among others, could be back in action tomorrow night?
Yeah, we talked to Josh, and he said he should be good to go. And then we spoke with Wes Unseld today because obviously Billy Donovan is not with the team. His father passed away, so our condolences to Billy and his family. But Wes Unseld took over for Billy and doing the media today, and he kind of alluded to the fact that Tre and Jalen Smith were also going to be coming back.
That's big time.
Okay.
Absolutely big time.
Bulls are back, you might even say.
Bulls are back. And Josh Giddey was asked from Media Scrum about his activity recently, ramping up to get back to action, and also his thoughts on the Bulls' very busy trade deadline while he was on the shelf rehabbing against injury. Joey C., take it away.
Craggy.
5-0 walkthrough, just kind of getting the rust back, getting shots up. Today was more live. I went through everything, feeling good. So, it's good to get. We've been, me and Tre have been playing 3-on-3 after shooting around the practices. So it wasn't our first introduction to live, but today we went 5-5 full court. So, as I said, I feel good.
Do you plan on being let out of prison tomorrow and play? Or?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
I'm back playing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What's kind of just your first impression of this slate you have?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the trade deadline, it's busy for the NBA as a whole and most teams. But I mean, for me, my 5 years in the league, that has been the busiest team I've been a part of. And to have so many guys go and so many new guys come in, it was obviously, you guys can see, it's different. And it's been I obviously haven't been out there playing with the guys yet, but just watching from a distance, it's going to take time to adapt to all these new faces and new play styles. And fortunately, all the guys that we brought in are all great guys. We're going to buy into what we're doing here. So I think, hopefully we can get this thing kicked off on the right foot after the All-Star break. But as I said, I think I like the group that we've got, and we got 27 games left to make something of it. So we've got to do our best to do that, and it starts tomorrow.
So a few different interesting details in there from Mr. Giddey that while they were on the shelf, that he and Tre and Jalen had all been doing a little bit of 3-on-3 kind of stuff before, during, or after the team's primary practices. He said yesterday was just more of a walkthrough, a 5-on-0, but that at today's practices, Goat, that they were full participants in 5-on-5. I'm curious if Josh, anywhere else in his talk with the media, or maybe Wes Unseld, shed light on if there's a plan for minutes restrictions on any three of those guys in their first action back?
Yeah, he didn't specify what that would be, but it does sound like all of those guys are going to be under minutes limits. The soft tissue stuff is just you don't want to mess around with it. And I think also they're kind of using this as an opportunity to make sure that they get some of these other guards on the court. From what I understand, it seems like they do want to maintain playing time for guys like Dillingham and Ivey and Simons and Sexton and Tre and Giddey. That's six players all in one backcourt. They can play three guards at a time, but it's just going to be, I think, a little bit of a challenge to get all those guys ample opportunity and ample minutes. But I think making sure that they're careful with Giddey and Tre and Jalen Smith as far as how many minutes they're playing will give them more runway to be able to say, all right, whatever the number is, whether it's 24 or 20 or 30 or whatever it may be, that they are going to have to, be held accountable to those minutes limits, and that will open up some playing time, I think, for some of the other guys.
6 guards is a lot.
It's a big number.
It's a big number. It's a big number.
Not enough.
Just a skosh. Not enough, says Joey C. Not enough. It's good to hear Josh Giddey talk. Let me say that. Because I do want to see him back out on the floor for this team, and I have some expectations for him. I'll get into another time. For Josh Giddey when he gets back out there. I did like hearing him say he, Tre, and Jalen are together when, all this is going on, still trying to, play together and, figure out some things amongst themselves, because that's honestly a leadership thing. So I like that kind of stuff from Josh Giddey. I feel like he's stepping into that when he does those kind of things. So that's great to hear from the 23-year-old that is honestly the engine of your team, that he wants this kind of responsibility. He's playing to win. That's also what I kind of take from this as well. He's nothing about Josh Giddey has ever told me he's trying to tank. He's trying to win all the time, and USA scores. He's trying to win. That's what he does, man. And I appreciate that, and I like that he's coming out with that mentality. They just saw it. And Mario,
we have a bit of a delay.
See this. My man Mario taking a
Our
lap.
TV's faster than theirs.
This is awesome. One more time. Take two. No, take two. Just one lap?
Dear Bossy victory lap.
I'm a little disappointed.
It's good stuff.
But yes,
USA.
I'm happy for Josh Giddey, man, and I'm excited to watch him play. I really want to see him get out there and see what he's been watching while he's been on the bench and seeing how he gets acclimated to all these guards, that they have, and see who he favors and who he's going to focus on. Because even though you're a facilitating point guard, you always have your guy when you're a facilitating point guard like that. Or even a point guard like Russell Westbrook. Still, in fact, you still have a guy that you enjoy giving the basketball to. So he's going to find all that out as the season goes on in the second half.
Yeah, Josh Giddey is going to be at the center of so much of this. And you know what, Joey, why don't we go ahead and get to our original take right now. We are going to talk a lot about some rotation battles on today's show, but kick it off with this. By the way, Original Take brought to you by our friends at Hooters. Cheer on your favorite team from any of the 11 Chicagoland Hooters locations, or check them out at originalhooters.com. Here's my take, and I'm curious if you guys feel the same.
I like that one.
And some viewers and listeners might be surprised to hear me say this, especially after what I said about Josh Giddey on yesterday's show.
Buckle up, baby. Come on.
Not for the foreseeable future, including next season and beyond. For the final 27 games of this season, there is no one more important on this team than Joshua Giddey.
Explain.
He needs to play as much of these games as possible, while I still think soft tank is in this team's best interest. You might say, well, Josh, if he's out there playing a lot, could help this team win. Maybe win some, lose some. I think when it comes to Josh, that's basically been the trend since he got here. They are a mid-ish team when he plays. And so, but like when you're talking about who stays and who goes in this 6-person backcourt shuffle you got going on, and AK and Eversley and who else being tasked with trying to decide if they want to keep any of these guys and who those people are, they have clearly invested in Josh Giddey. Whether you are a Giddey believer or not, that is the reality. So make your peace with that and say, okay, who plays best next to Josh Giddey and who makes Josh Giddey better playing next to him? So, and as you said a minute ago, sometimes, obviously, and if Billy especially continues on being this team's head coach, you can throw a lot of 3-guard lineups out there. But all the mixtures of Josh Giddey and fill-in-the-blank player in the backcourt, or Josh Giddey and this guard and this guard, and 3-guard rotations, you have a 27-game sample size to make those decisions. And Josh Giddey playing, being healthy, and playing as the best version of himself with those guys is one of the most important things for the next 27 games.
I completely agree with him on that.
I want to respectfully disagree.
Oh,
boom!
I agree.
I think you're right to say that Giddey is around. He's a fixture of the franchise moving forward. And I think, like, for better, for worse, whatever you think about Giddey, like, I think we talked about yesterday, areas where he can still improve. I'm optimistic about his future, but I know that he is part of the future. So I don't feel like he needs to be on the court as much, because to me, the most important thing that the Bulls can do the rest of the way is lose every single game that they can. Forget about soft tank. They need to be extremely hard tanking to get themselves the best possible chance to draft in the top 4 of this draft.
Yeah.
They need a top pick because they're not going to finish as a bottom 4 team. I think probably realistically 8 or 9 is the highest that they can do. But if they can get higher than that, it just maximizes their odds. And we know that that is the most important thing for their team moving forward. I think Jaden Ivey could be a potential piece. I think Rob Dillingham could be a potential piece. But you can figure that stuff out next year with Josh Giddey. Right now, what you need to figure out is how can you get the best possible draft pick, because I think that player gives you the best chance moving forward.
So I agree with lots of what your counterpoint was.
I do too.
The follow-up is the fact that so many of these guys, basically everyone save Dillingham, are on expiring deals. You don't care about that as much as stacking L's when it comes to using this sample size of games to decide if you want to keep any of these guys who are on expiring.
Josh Giddey is a good player. He's going to prevent you from losing games. And I think if you're signing up for 3 or 4 years of Jaden Ivey after this year, they're going to figure it out next year. Like, I don't think they need to solve all of these problems right now, because the roster is still so much in flux. If that were the case, then why not buy out Anfernee Simons and Collin Sexton and actually put those guys on the court with Josh Giddey? I just don't think that those things are fully aligned right now. And so to me, I think, getting Tre back in there, getting Giddey back in there, getting Jalen Smith back in there, playing them with, it's not like a bad thing. I think that continuity is valuable. I just don't think it's nearly as valuable as a potential top 4 pick in this draft. And if playing Josh Giddey and Jalen Smith gives you one more win, and that one more win puts you in a position where now you're drafting 10th instead of 4th, or drafting 11th instead of 10th, like, that is just not worth it to me.
I don't disagree. I was just
That's interesting.
talking about what's happening on the court. I think the most important thing, or one of the useful things you can get out of 27 games, where it's in your team's best interest to lose as many of those 27 games as you can.
Yeah.
Getting something productive out of those games can still be seeing which of these guards you like playing alongside Josh Giddey the most.
And I think both.
And
of
you
those
can,
things
I think,
can
do
be
that
true.
whilst still accomplishing a goal of losing more games than you win.
I think yeah, I think that's a fair point that both of those things can be true. But again, if that one additional win that Josh Giddey or 2 or 3 or whatever it may be is the difference between them being 10th in the lottery standings or 9th or 11th instead of 10th, and because you're talking about downside too, where a team can jump you and that pushes you back. It's not like they're guaranteed the 9th pick if they finish with the ninth worst record. You get the higher percent chance of jumping up, and it becomes even there's a cap on how far you can fall back. So I think, like, to me, that's what is important right now. They're going to have cap space. They're going to reshape the roster again this summer. I don't feel like they need to invest time and energy and resources into all these guys in a way where it costs them wins. I just don't. And, like, I think there's value in getting them on the court together for sure. I just don't think that comes anywhere close to the value of putting yourself in the very best possible position to get a high draft pick.
Real quick before we head to break, Fine Day in the chat saying, need to lose literally every game. This draft is crazy.
Correct.
And our guy Clem saying, starting the tank 4 months after everyone else is not a strategy. Milwaukee will get over us in the standings, but nobody else. The gap is already too big.
They're one game.
Yep. Bucks 1 game back.
But again, if you finish right now, they're 10th in the lottery odds. If you finish 10th or 11th,
yeah,
you could get pushed back to 11th or 12th.
Yeah.
And that is not something that you want to have happen in a very in a draft that's very strong at the top.
Okay, we'll pause it there, knock out a couple ads real quick. We'll come back. We'll talk more about the very heavy competition 4 minutes down the stretch of the season as some of the Bulls are getting healthy, starting with tomorrow night's action against Toronto. Hit that like button. It's free. BRB.
5 of them things, all right? And now I can read the microphone to see it's Xfinity, all right? Because guess what? 5-year guarantee is what they give you, y'all, for 5 whole years. A whole lot can change in 5 whole years unless you're a fan of the Bulls. A lot of things can go down, all right? Things go up, things go down, or stay right in that middle. You know who I'm talking to, ladies and gentlemen. But with Xfinity, y'all, you can guarantee that price will not go up. It will not go down. You have a guaranteed price for 5 straight years. That means you get that amazing Wi-Fi, all of your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. No hidden fees, no annual contracts. See what I did. And Xfinity's best equipment is included. They are amazing. I was using them yesterday to record podcasts and everything. I love Xfinity, and guess what? You will too. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
CHGO Bulls also brought to you by 4 Seasons. Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Y'all, winter is here. Doesn't feel like it today.
No.
Burks are out. But
oh, snap.
Winter's coming back, y'all. You better believe it. So at 4 Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and generator needs with no extra charge for nights, weekends, and holidays. If you need to get that furnace of yours tuned up or checked out or replaced, save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems with 4 Seasons. Furnaces starting at $39 a month. Furnace AC combos, $57 a month. Call today and save $50 from your trusted local experts. 4 Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. So visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all of their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's 4seasonsheatingcooling.com. Because Dave, for all the right reasons.
Microphone, call 866-4-SEASONS.
Microphone. CHGO Bulls podcast rolling along on Wednesday afternoon.
It's important.
Peck, Big Dave, Goat, our guy Joey C hanging out on the controls. Thanks for being here, Bulls Nation. Hit that like button if you did not do it during the ad break. It's free. All right, so continuing on this conversation about some Bulls coming back into action tomorrow night. Josh Giddey, Jalen Smith, Tre Jones, all planning to return after some considerable absences leading up to the All-Star break. And all of these new players that arrived via trade that the team needs to take a look at and have already gotten some, a decent amount of games and reps under their belts, but now are going to be trying to figure out how to play with some of their new teammates that they have yet to play with. Namely, obviously, Giddey, Tre, and Jalen. And figuring out where exactly those rotations will unfold and shake out. And the extra interesting wrinkle of our first taste of that being tomorrow night, a game in which one of Billy Donovan's assistant, head coaches is acting head coach, Wes Unseld Jr.
Yeah.
And what we see tomorrow night between that and maybe a minutes restriction on one or some of those returning to action, Like tomorrow's going to be the first taste of trying to figure out how all these jigsaw pieces work now that we're getting healthier. But I don't think it will be the end-all, be-all of what we're going to see for the remaining 26 after tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just kind of what we're about to find out. Like, I don't know what the answer is going to be. Obviously, the last handful of games before the break were what they were. It was not really pretty. It was a team that was very much in flux, trying to figure out who they were. They lost a couple of games even before they had made some trades because I think the deadline was kind of hanging over their head in a way that kind of made life a little bit more challenging. But they're getting some bodies back. And I think they kind of lean, especially the guys that are holdovers from last year, lean on the success that they had in the second half of last season when they finished the season 15-5 and feel like they can kind of put together a run like that. Now, I think it's harder, and I think they kind of also know generally, like the players kind of know what's going on, right? Like they're not under any illusions about the fact that they could put together a run here that could get them. Like I think they want to compete, they want to win, they want to try to make the plan, but I think they also know that this team is now in flux. They just went through a very, as Giddey said, like a challenging, difficult, weird, unique trade deadline experience where none of them had really experienced anything like that before. Yeah. And so I don't know, like obviously if you're a player or you're a coach, you're not playing for the future or like trying to throw games, or that's like not how these guys are built, and they shouldn't operate that way. That would be, I think, much worse for the game than all the tanking discourse that we've been talking about. But from the organization's perspective, I think I stand by what I said before, which is that they need to really prioritize getting themselves in the best position possible, because as much as we talk about rebuilding and entering these sort of long rebuilding phases, I think ideally what happens is that you get lucky in this draft. You get a player that you can really look at as a franchise pillar, whether it's a superstar, whatever it may be. You pair that player with Giddey, with Modis, and you have some space to go out and get another young player or two in restricted free agency. That can kind of kickstart and slingshot you back into a position where not only are you a little bit more competitive next year, but you're building towards something, which is what they've lacked over the last several years. So I think that's the ideal situation. I don't think anybody wants to just be bad indefinitely. So if they can get themselves a high draft pick, then next year we can come into the season and be looking at them through the lens of how can they build and get better with the core that they have. But that doesn't work unless you get a real pillar in the draft. And so that, again, comes back to the point of how can you really put yourself in the best position to do that? It's a lottery. There's no guarantees, but how can you put yourself in the best position to maximize your chances?
It's a tough... That's tough. Man. That's a tough way to do it because you know the mentality. Like you said, you don't want to change the mentality of the players and what they have. Like I just spoke on, I like Giddey's mentality that he's coming in with, and I hope he keeps it. But goes not wrong at the same time. Like they absolutely need to be losing as many games as possible out here. So I guess the question is, what is the balance? How do you do that? How do you not turn down that will to go out there and try to compete and win every single game you possibly can? Not that you're going to, but just that idea of competition. And then, but at the same time, turn it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Not do so much. I don't think Giddey has that lever personally. Like, and I don't want him to. I'm not asking him to at all. I don't want him to have that lever. I'm just saying I don't think he has that. So if you know the player doesn't have it, who does it fall on? And usually it's probably the coach it falls on, but Billy Donovan ain't about that life either. That is not how he rolls. Like, he is trying to win and get every single win he possibly can. But maybe I'm speaking too highly of this at the same time, because as much as Josh Giddey does as far as the production and the usage and the things he provides on the floor, I'm still looking around at the rest of the team like, I don't know if that's going to be enough, even if he's playing at his absolute best. I don't know if that's still going to be enough for them to win games going forward. So, of course, we're going to have to find out and see and try. I want Josh Giddey to get all the triple-doubles in the world, personally. I want to see if he can get a 30-point triple-double. Like, I want to see these things happen. But I think like even Yuki if I did? – yeah, like Yuki did. Because even if I still see that, I still think that they're going to lose that game, personally, like in my head. Like, I still think the L is coming. Regardless of if he's that dominant or not, just because of what's around him, because you're still figuring out what's around him. Like, it's not going to click, you know what I'm saying, as immediate like that. Like he says, it's brand new to him, to all of us. Like, this is a whole new thing that they're doing out here. So it's a fine line that you just got to walk.
Just a quick question for the group. Or actually, go ahead and then I'll ask.
I just wanted to follow up on that because I think it's a good point that two things can be true at once. Like they can both go out there and try to win every game, but also the organization can put them in a situation where it's going to be difficult to do that. And that's why I always felt like the trade for Dalen Terry for Guerschon Yabusele and it turned out to be Ousmane Dieng for Nick Richards just like didn't track for me because it would have been totally fine to go into this last 30 games and say, these are the young players that we're trying to develop. We're going to put them out there. The roster doesn't make sense. It's not balanced right now. Why are you reaching and giving up young players to get veterans that aren't going to be here down the line just so that you can like have a more balanced roster? It didn't add up to me. And it would have allowed you to be in a position where you could play all those guys and let them really play as much as they wanted or much as they could and give them as much responsibility as you could. And it would still be very difficult to win because you have one big man on the roster.
Yeah.
And so like those are the things that like I don't think the Bulls had any just disastrous moves. Like you can say that they didn't get enough value back for some guys. I don't think they had any really disaster moves or really set themselves back. We'll talk more about this in a later segment on today's show. But I just think they did some stuff that kind of set them back in terms of their ability to put themselves in a position where they could both go out there and try to win, but also not have the roster that's capable of doing that.
I hear you.
Yeah, question for the group. And no one has a crystal ball, so I think this is more maybe a hypothetical, if anything else. But based on Adam Silver's comments this weekend, and I know a lot of people in the chat don't like soft tanking, medium tanking, hard tanking, but is this not the year to possibly try and at least drive towards that goal? And that you're not trying to lose on purpose, but you're also trying to see young players on the floor develop. Isn't this the year to do it before the tanking rules have some serious teeth? Or could the rules maybe benefit a team like the Bulls next year moving forward, where it isn't just lose as many games as possible and we're going to give you more lottery balls? Like, is this maybe the year of all the years to maybe try and do a soft tank? This might be it because the rules might be changing.
The last couple of years would have been a great time to do it, and they didn't. This is
it's
not just that this is a good year to do it. It's like this is their last chance to do it because next year and the year after, we don't know what they're actually going to look like. There does not appear to be a top dog or a couple of guys at the top of the draft that are really going to be franchise changers. So not only is this the right time, it's the only time. They have to do it now. And I think more so than Adam Silver's comments or the discourse that's going on right now about tanking and lottery reform, all that stuff is fine. To your point, Joey, hasn't happened yet. And I think you have to capitalize in that position. But also there's a difference between going out there and like letting Josh Giddey run around and get as many triple doubles as he can and seeing if he can become that 30-point per game guy that I think this team kind of needs him to become if they're going to justify giving him the type of usage that I think they're going to give him. They can do those things and also lose games because they don't have the right roster compared to what the Jazz or what the Wizards or some of these other teams are doing where they're literally pulling guys mid-game. I don't think the Bulls are going to do that. I think those fines were probably pretty prohibitive for a lot of these teams. And so I don't know that we're going to see a lot of that. But we're seeing the Kings putting, Domantas Sabonis is having surgery right now. Like these guys are just going to be hurt and out for the season. I think that's kind of a more that's an approach that I think makes more sense, that you can justify a little bit more in response to some of this tanking discourse.
Just real quick, man, I wanted to respond to my man. Relax. Shout out to you. With Giddey, I think if everybody that is here was under contracts, then you would be right. But you need to see him play because, honestly, that's going to determine whether guys are going to be signed or not. So he's got to get out there and play with those guys because if it works with them, they're immediately on the radar as far as signing. If they're not, see you later, sayonara. So, yeah, I want to see Dillingham too. For sure, but those other guys have got to see if they can play with Josh Giddey because Giddey is the future.
Yeah, there was a lot there. We took a weird tanking tangent there. That's kind of related to the rotation, but like I'm with Goat and our pal Clem said it in the chat a minute earlier. Like it would have been a great year to tank, regardless of some tanking changes and rule changes that might happen this offseason. They already tried to curb tanking with rule changes. It didn't work. Teams are still tanking.
True.
Teams will continue to tank until they find a solution. I don't know that there is one. So as far as the Bulls specifically, you missed 3/4 of your window to do it because it was all of last season and all of this season. And here we are coming to the final quarter of this season, maybe final third of this season, and you're finally freaking embracing something you should have done 2 years ago. But when it comes to your response to that comment in the chat, like, that's why, like, I still think it would be good to see specifically Josh Giddey and Jaden Ivey together in a backcourt as a starting unit.
I agree.
Because that dude's a restricted free agent.
Yes.
Do you want to pay him in a few months or don't you?
Yeah.
Do you want to keep him in a few months or don't you? That's huge. And while Dillingham is still, got some time on his rookie scale contract and you have more time to figure out that one, I also think Dillingham is a not bust of a lottery pick, but a false start lottery pick who still has a low floor and a high ceiling.
Yeah.
So play that young talent next to Giddey as much as you can also. Because those are, I think, the two most important on-court relationships that you're working with right now. Whether or not you decide, hey, we'll take a flyer, or maybe we decide we want to keep Simons, or maybe decide we want to keep Sexton this off. You know who those players are.
Yeah.
You know who those players are. Ivy is still a big question mark because of the injuries he's endured. And Dillingham's a big question mark because he's a lottery pick that hasn't been able to get on the floor for a veteran win-now team.
Yeah.
Those are the two players I think matter the most when you're talking about seeing who Giddey plays with and if he plays well with them. On that note, we got to knock out a quick ad. We'll come back and pick up the same conversation, maybe look at some of the other positions on the floor as far as the rotation and minutes battles coming up down the stretch this season. And then, of course, we'll still get to the new fresh front office rankings, a.k.a. moving on up to the east side. Hit the like. Be right back.
Not the east side. No, earlier we were doing ads. I forgot to put the microphone in front of my face.
True story.
It happened. I was talking without a mic in front of my face, and I was like, man, you know what else that signals? I need to go see Game Day Men's Health, man. All right? I got to get right. Get myself together, okay? I will be calling in very soon to get a re-up on that B12 vitamins, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to need some of them. And you can too, fellas out there. You want to be a better man. You want to be a better husband, just a better person overall. You need some Game Day Men's Health. I promise you, you will feel amazing. I guarantee it. You will feel better and have more energy. They got testosterone shots. They got vitamin supplements. They got weight loss. They got hair loss treatments. They got stuff for the inside of things that's going on in your body as well. Game Day Men's Health is what you should be doing. So start your best life with Game Day Men's Health. Check out locations in Skokie, Naperville, Libertyville, and more, and scan the QR code to find the closest one to you. Go to GameDayCHGO.com to find locations closest to you.
CHGO Bulls also brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. Let's talk about your next weekend escape, or maybe just your next big night out, because Potawatomi has everything you need all in one spot. We're talking about thousands, not hundreds, thousands of the latest slots, cha-ching, and table games. Ooh. Joey Craps.
7.
Ready to refuel? You've got a ton of amazing restaurants and bars to choose from, whether you're feeling fancy, getting all dressed up, or you just want a quick bite looking like a schlub like me. Shout out to the Cutoff Flannel, 90s forever. You don't even have to leave the property. They can let you stay in style in their luxurious hotel. Do that for yourself. It's just steps away from what many call the Midwest's best sports book. Maybe you're heading to a game this winter. Start your day right at Potawatomi, hit the sports book, then head out to the game. It's all right there and super convenient. Milwaukee has a full winter lineup, not just of sporting events, but concerts, festivals, and more. Potawatomi is the perfect home base for all of it. Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. Your win is waiting, unless you're the Packers. So go check it out.
Yeah.
CHGO Bulls rolls along Wednesday. Peck, Big Dave, Goat, and Joey C. Thanks for being here with us, Bulls Nation. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet.
Hit it.
All right, so with regard to that rotation, I mean, do either of you guys disagree with any of what I just said before the break as far as, like, Ivy and Dillingham being the ideal priorities as far as what Billy and his staff will look at as backcourt pairings with Josh Giddey? I know you said earlier, Goat, that, like, Giddey, you're invested in him, so seeing him with those guys doesn't necessarily matter as much, but...
Oh, no, I agree.
As compared to, like, how many minutes of Simons and Sexton are we going to see down the stretch?
I want to see both of them, all those opportunities with Josh Giddey. They have to get a chance out there to play with him, man, to see if it works.
For sure. I mean, I think if, like, that's independent for me of whether Giddey plays. Like, you want to evaluate those guys. And I think you can do that with or without Giddey on the floor. I think it helps with Giddey, but I don't think it helps enough to where you should be prioritizing that.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough. Okay, and then when it comes to, let's say, wings on this team, like combo, like shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, that group of players like Isaac Okoro, Modis, Patrick Williams is still here. You could throw Leonard Miller into that category of players too, I think. does anything change with that group of players in Billy's rotation down the stretch? Because I think, assuming healthy and maybe occasionally a night off just because, Okoro and Modest are not only going to play but start every game for the rest of the season, assuming health. And, like, dude, shout out to Modest. He's 55 of 55 right now. He might, for the sake of pride and accomplishment in just year 2 of his NBA career, say, I want to play all 82.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
you know, we might see that, knock on wood. Honestly, I freaking hope we do. But Pat and Leonard Miller, I think, is a more interesting question. You know what Pat is. Do you want to take a closer look at who Leonard Miller is and who he might be?
1,000%. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's going to probably help you lose some games too. He has not had a chance to play. I was high on him in the draft. Like, I think there's a lot of talent there, but you just have to see what you have in these guys. And I think a lot of times they are doing that evaluation behind the scenes in practice. When fans get frustrated about X or YZ player not getting minutes, a lot of the time is because, like, Billy's already made the assessment that he doesn't feel like that guy is ready to contribute. And that's why these final games are important, is because for me, and they're not going to admit this, but the goal or the orientation of the team has changed from teams that are really trying to win now at all costs to teams that should be more focused on development. So I think the way to do that is you're going to have to play a lot of 3-guard lineups.
Okay.
That's something obviously Billy's already done and familiar with. We saw it in OKC, and we've seen it now with the Bulls, like Tre, Giddey, and Sexton, or Simons, Giddey, and Dillingham. Like, there's going to be some weird lineups, but I think you have to do that in order to get these guys enough minutes when they are all healthy. And I also just don't think that there's enough wings that are really going to push their way into the rotation. You still have Okoro, you still have Patrick, you still have Modest, obviously. Leonard Miller, I would love to see get some minutes, but Essengay obviously is not going to be available. That's unfortunate. This would have been a great time to play him.
Yes.
But you have to get creative. And another reason why, like, having some bigs is important, I guess, because you want to have, like, a real roster out there to try to help you evaluate. Like, I think there's something to be said for that, but it just more guys that you are now giving minutes to that aren't going to be here next year.
I know what
a lot of pensive from Dave on today's show.
Go killing it. Like, that's what he does. He's a smart individual.
It's
like, dang, he right. Go ahead, man.
It's like, I get that you don't want to build a losing culture, that you don't, like, it's 27 games at the end of the season. This is not setting up for a 3-year bottoming out period. Like, they can go in and out of this if they do it right.
You're also not risking winning culture because you don't have any. Like, I'm sorry.
I agree with that.
You have a second half of the season winning culture. You definitely have that.
15-5.
Man, come on.
14-9.
You have that. Go ahead.
How about 39-43?
There it is.
Like,
right.
That's just, you're not, I don't think you can recover from this. If you go into these final 27 games and it doesn't go well, and then you bring back half of these guys and bring in a bunch of new guys, like, it's going to be a different team next year, and you're going to be able to build the culture. Like, I just don't buy that stuff. I just don't. And maybe that's naive or short-sighted of me. I just don't buy it, don't care about it. Like, the most important thing is talent. It always has been. It always will be. You have to get the talent, and the rest will follow.
Yeah. And I think that's why we keep saying I want to see Josh Giddey play, because that's the talent, and I need to see what it is around him.
For sure.
And what's happening with him, man. But you're right. I mean, everything you're saying is correct. Like, the draft is the most important thing for sure, without a doubt. Like,
there's
100%.
a reason all this tanking discourse exists, is because the draft is really important.
Yeah, and especially this season, why it's so huge. So Bulls are a little late to the party, per usual, on that. But it is that freaking important, to the point that they traded their whole team. Like, we've never seen the Bulls do something like that. They traded their whole entire team just to try to get worse. I mean, they still got some pieces that made us say, oh, what are they doing? But they tried to get worse, and I think they did get worse with what they have out there. And I think you still got to see what you got with the guys that you know are still going to be here. And you still got to find out what you got with guys who don't have their contract signed. And then what about guys like Lockie, who you might want to check out and see? I still want to see Yuki get some time, you know what I mean, a point guard, but there are 55 point guards in line before him. So you just don't know. But there's a lot of moving pieces with this, man. But this is what it's supposed to look like, right? When you're starting something over, it's supposed to look this kind of weird, crazy, and difficult. You're not supposed to be structured in your trash. That's why it's called trash. because it's not structured at all. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. And it's the front office's job to kind of, remove the trash from it and to build with this. So you're just looking at the building block. I keep looking at those building blocks of Giddey. And it's funny we haven't mentioned Modest in this whole conversation, but I'm looking at Modest also as well. Like those two guys. I'm looking at Giddey and I'm looking at Modest. I'm like, okay, for sure, those are the two guys without a doubt. Everyone else, yeah, you could debate it for sure. But those are the two guys. So who's fitting around that? Where's Modest going to play? Is he going to be the 3 now? Like, we comfortable with him at the 3? And by we, I mean the coaching staff. Are they comfortable with it at the 3? Is Giddey just going to be that guy who has the ball, period? Or are they going to do it like a Tre Jones thing, like where he could be off ball with it? Like, and even with that, I don't even need to see it with Tre Jones. Like, I don't. I know what I got with Tre Jones. I know 100% what I have with him. I know what I got with Jalen Smith. I know what I got with him, man. We know what we got with Patrick Williams. I know what I got with that player right there. But I need to see it for these other guys, man. And my point is, if I'm seeing it with those other guys, you're still going to be losing because they are trying to figure it out. So the losing train can still occur and keep moving forward as we need it to while you're still evaluating who's going to be here.
And just to add one more thing, because I don't want to
keep cooking.
I think if you're asking me, do you want to see Giddey play with some of these new guys? Like, yeah, I think there's for sure value in that. And I think there's more value in that than seeing Simons and Sexton play with them. Like, to me, that would be an obvious. You know what you have, and you know the fact that you don't have them next year.
Whew,
like, they're not going to – and, like, they're too good. They're helping you too much now. Yes. And I just would rather – if you're going to play the guys that are going to be here, like, play the guys that are going to be here past this year. And so if you do have to find ways to – navigate those minutes crunch, like that's where I would want to see it. And it's not a commentary on those guys. I think they're, like I said, too good for this team right now. They're going to help them win too much. And as I've made it very clear, I do not think they should be winning games.
So says you, Goat. Yeah. How many Bulls dubs have we talked about after Jaden Ivey, Anfernee Simons and Collin Sexton have been their 2 highest usage players? Because I believe they're 0
If they slot down with Tre and Giddey back, and now they're coming off, like that's
fair.
It's depth you don't want on this team.
Correct.
I get
it. Let's shift gears to our last topic for the day. It is the big takeaway. Big takeaway presented by our friends at Xfinity, who also provided us with our lovely little mic cubes here. Xfinity, imagine that. Shout out to my home cable internet provider as well. Y'all probably saw this. It was going around NBA Twitter a little bit. Yesterday, Sam Quinn of CBS Sports dropped a fresh NBA front office rankings. I think he does these a couple times a year.
Okay.
And good news, the Bulls front office has moved up for the second iteration of these rankings in a row.
See us for confetti.
The previous front office rankings from CBS Sports had Arturas and the Bulls 29th, having moved up a spot from dead last and 30th.
Okay.
This time, with these fresh rankings yesterday, he ranks 28th.
Oh.
That's 2 consecutive move-ups in front office power rankings.
I mean, that's growth,
30th,
right?
29th, 28th. Soon enough, AK is going to be whatever the power rankings front office equivalent of 39 and 43 is going to be.
Oh,
he's going to be right there.
10th seed.
Yeah, right there, man. He's climbing, though, right? That means Sam thinks it's a good thing that he moved up. Isn't that right, Matt?
I mean, the way that Sam Quinn opened it is the Bulls have now technically moved up in back-to-back rankings. They shouldn't tank. They should not take that Freudian slip as a compliment.
What?
The last 2 teams have just distinguished themselves too much over the last year for the Bulls to do any worse than 28th. The 2 teams ranked worse than the Bulls, by the way, that he's referring to, New Orleans Pelicans, Sacramento Kings.
So he moved up by default.
Correct.
So because the other teams were just that putrid and bad, they're saying, well, you can't be here, even though you should be here.
Correct.
But these are worse. So we will put you up here. That's like getting moved up a grade level, even though you can't read. You know what I mean? Well, dude, look, the crowd, it's too crowded, all right? You got to move up, dog. We can't keep you here, all right? You got to move up. I graduated, but you can't read.
And now so many of those poor children are just Adults walking amongst us, failing at being adults.
Is this fair?
Making the world stupid.
We just had a conversation about this.
We did.
Right. We just had this conversation.
Stupidity everywhere.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so look, I mean, I think it mostly is just a default situation here as far as you're still in the bottom three. And I think deservedly so. I think there were some people wondering aloud and in public forums and circles, hey, like, did AK has he made a couple of decent moves recently? Is there a recent track record shift of, hey, AK maybe got that right. Mm-hmm. Maybe he got that right, and maybe they got something going here. And again, this is just one outlet and one, NBA writer's opinion. This isn't consensus. But I would say that it's interesting and worth noting that with this consensus, you also saw lots of national NBA media people offering their 2 cents on what every team did or did not do at the trade deadline on various podcasts and, written columns and et cetera, et cetera. It was the same story tale as old as time when it came time for people to offer their 2 cents on the Bulls in their front office and this trade deadline. What the heck are they doing? Why are they doing it?
Bang.
I can't figure it out. On that note, we got to quickly knock out our last ad break. We will come back with more thoughts on this topic, the Bulls front office, whether or not they're actually improving or if it's just a little bit of fool's gold. Hit that like button. It's free. CHGO Bulls is brought to you by Huel. We are midway through February, y'all, but just because January's over doesn't mean you can give up on your health and especially your protein goals for 2026. Huel's a perfect solution for high-protein routine support, busy days, habit building, convenience, and control this year. It comes with 2 different formulas. The ready-to-drink one, bam, right here. Or for those days you might have a little bit more time around the house, it comes in protein powder form as well. Shake it up in your Huel bottle and then take it on the go. Either way, you're getting 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals in each serving without any artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. It is also gluten-free. And guess what? It is under $5 a meal. That's exactly what it is. It drinks like a meal. Take advantage of the limited time offer right now. Go to Huel.com and get 15% off your online order with code BULLS15. That's code BULLS15 at checkout for new customers only. Shout out to Huel for partnering and supporting the show. Head to Huel.com/Bulls15. If you're busy, Huel is a game changer.
Huel! Joey C, what time is it? Game time hoop. He was on it, ready to go. And I like that because it's game time, y'all. They are the best. We enjoy them. You know what else they like? They got the zone deals, y'all. They are awesome. That is, you can save even more money when you choose your section and let Game Time do the selecting of your seat. They are the best, y'all. Of course, they got the Matt, Peck, and McDade favorite. They got the seat views. We love those. Of course, they got that lowest price guarantee. Of course, they got the Game Time ticket coverage, y'all. It comes with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take that guesswork out of buying those NBA tickets with Game Time, y'all. Download the Game Time app, Grand account, and use that code CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase.
Terms apply.
Man, I said CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Because Matt Peck, what time is it?
CHGO Bulls rolls along on Wednesday for a bit more. Thanks for being here with us, Bulls Nation. Okay, so we're talking about these fresh front office NBA rankings and the fact that AK and his brain trust have technically moved up now for the second consecutive iteration of these rankings from 30th to 29th to 28th.
Yes.
Sam Quinn had a few interesting thoughts to say, but when he basically acknowledged that the Bulls too late did finally engage in a mini teardown, I believe he called it. He asks, so what did the Bulls get back in their teardown, Joey, if you will? Well, they're the Bulls, so we know what they got back. Recent lottery picks who couldn't stick with their original teams.
Jesus.
I'm fine with the basic idea of a second draft swing on Dillingham. I'm a bit more enthusiastic about taking one on Jaden Ivey. I'm not sure if they make sense on the same team, with Simons and Sexton also jumping aboard at the deadline and Josh Giddey in place as the primary creator. It seems like they just threw a bunch of talent together and are seeing what sticks.
Oh, man.
He went on to say there is no defense to be found here, and I can't really figure out what the plan is beyond play fast and figure it out.
Oh, man.
They went through a mini teardown, so let's see how the offseason goes, but it's been quite some time since the Bulls had a clear, definable vision, so none of this is really out of the ordinary, end quote. That, again, is one pundit's opinion, one NBA writer's opinion, I agree with it 10,000%.
Yeah, I'm just saying over here because I didn't hear no lies. It was just wild to hear that just on a much larger scale, coming from somebody.
Young players with experience, Dave.
Yeah, it's what
the collection of them doesn't make a lot of sense right now. Maybe AK's got some things in the pipes in the offseason, laying that groundwork per usual.
No.
Well, I think the big broad strokes, what are they doing question that I've seen a bunch, I don't think that it's realistic to get an answer to that right now. If they go into next year with a similar roster, I think that's when you can start to ask those questions. But clearly what happened at the deadline was they weren't going to bring back Kobe, Ayo, or Vooch,
right,
or Kevin Huerter, and they probably aren't going to bring back a lot of the other unrestricted guys in their roster. Mm-hmm. So they tried to turn those guys into the best assets that they could possibly get. They probably wanted to flip Simons and Sexton after acquiring them, weren't able to do it, so now they're stuck with them. I don't think that this was like the vision of getting a bunch of 6'2" and under guards so that they could try to make a play-in push. I think the vision is how can we reconstruct our team when we're selling at a challenging point in the market with guys like Kobe, with guys like Ayo. They're unrestricted free agents. They're going to be able to sign with whoever they want. And so therefore, you aren't able to get back as much as you would hope, as you would have been able to had you done this a year ago or 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think that's the big number one takeaway. The number two takeaway is, could they have gotten more if they had taken on longer-term money? Mm-hmm. And we know that they are talking about flexibility, that they want to be able to use that flexibility to do a variety of different possible things this offseason, which again leads me to the point of I don't think it's necessarily fair to assess their roster right now as the final product.
Okay.
So when you think about it that way, I think that they missed on some opportunities to sell at max value again, which has happened multiple times. But like they did the right thing, I guess you could say, quote unquote, by trying to strip this down. Like if they had gone into the second half of this year with the same roster or re-signed Kobe and Ayo on market value deals, which would have been like $20-ish million for both of them, let's say on average, maybe give or take $5 million, and gone into next season, you're the same team, more expensive without flexibility, and you're still not good enough. So I do think they needed to make some of these changes, but I don't think it's fair to necessarily assess them on the way that their roster looks right now. But like I said, if they go into next season with Simons and Sexton and Dillingham and Tre and Giddey, and whoever the sixth guard is that I can't remember off the top of my head, then I think you have some question marks that are like, okay, big picture, what actually are you doing here? So I think that's the number one thing. But if you're asking me about like where this front office ranks relative to some of the other ones, I mean, I think they're better than the Kings because they saw what happened with Zach and DeMar and they didn't trade for that. That just inherently puts the Kings in last place. And the Pelicans made one of the worst trades of all time with this draft pick that could be the number one pick. Yeah. So I think that...
And the team that passed on that deal.
The Bulls did pass on that deal.
Boom. 28.
But I don't think the Bulls did anything that was like actively damaging to their future. But that's, again, where you go into next season and you see what kind of contracts that they sign. What I don't think that they've done and why I wouldn't feel comfortable putting them any higher is they haven't like done anything that meaningfully improves their chances. Like if you look at the young core that they have, Modest is a nice player. Giddey is a nice player. Essengay, who knows? Unfortunate situation to not have him here. Yeah, but basically you're banking on those three plus whatever draft pick you get, which right now is looking like 9 or 10. That's not a very good situation to go into your next iteration with. And so I don't think that they've done anything that actually helps the team build a better future, even if they also did the right thing, quote unquote, by finally tearing it down. All of this operates within like the current incentive structures with tanking, with the lottery stuff that we've been kind of alluding to and talking around here today. But I just don't think that they've really set themselves up in a way that puts any sort of like optimism on their future unless you really buy Giddey and Modest as future stars or unless you feel like they're going to win the lottery. I don't know what the odds of any of those things happening are right now, but to me, it's like the big picture question about them is like, no, they didn't do anything actively damaging. I don't love we talked about Yabusele and Richards giving up a guy like Ousmane Dieng who like may not be good. He's having a couple of good games, but like I'd rather see what he turns into than Nick Richards, who's 29. So like some of the details on the fringes, I don't agree with. I thought some of the moves that they did were good. The Dario Saric thing, getting 2 second-round picks for him, I thought was smart. Getting a high second-round pick for Vooch, I thought that was good. But like big picture, I don't think that they put themselves in a position that's like, okay, now they're on track. Because they're still kind of in this position where they don't really have any core pieces, but with the flexibility that they now have to make big decisions. And so you're going to basically go into next season having committed to more people, having an inflexible cap sheet, and still, unless you win the lottery, not having like a core number one player that you can really point to.
How dare you,
Flexing
Goat?
over here.
Josh Giddey, Modest Buzelis, Noah Esenge, Tre Jones, Jalen Smith, Isaac Okoro. There's your core.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what they're doing, then
Shout out.
then
Brandon
I think
Davis.
it's fair to ask those questions of like, what are they doing? But right now, I just think that they're so incomplete that it's hard to criticize them. And I think part of that is just by design because they don't want to be good the rest of the season.
But the pushback or the disagreement I have with you on that is, yeah, they don't understand what the team is right now. They got to figure it out. When we've seen other teams do this, we understand exactly what they're doing. As far as when they're like, okay, we're going to start over, we're going to be bad. It makes all the sense in the world that we're going to go do it this way. So when you do it this way, like the Bulls are doing, I think everybody has every right in the world to say, what are you doing? We don't understand what's happening right here because you haven't made a decision, a clear decision, I would say, 100% in decision on whether you're just going to be bad or whether you just want to keep winning. This is why we're sitting here having discussions about, man, well, Josh Giddey, if he plays too tough, man, why Anfernee Simons going to be out here? If he plays too tough, they might win. When a team makes it clear to you that they aren't going to be like that, you don't have those questions at all. You understand exactly what they're trying to do. So I think that criticism is very fair about what they're doing because they haven't made it 100% abundantly clear what they're doing.
Well, I think there's truth to that, but I do think for the most part, people think they're going to be really bad.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the thought
I've been on the
process
higher
it.
end of what
I think they're going to be really bad too. I'm saying when you've watched teams like, let's say Washington do this, you're like, oh yeah, Washington's clearly going to be not that team at all. Clearly going to be a bad team. When I'm watching how the Bulls are doing it, you can say and believe, because I believe they'll be bad, but we're still like, oh, I don't know, man. Like that dude might go crazy and he might win some games, man. I don't know.
That's the line.
Jim.
That's the line that they're actually not willing to cross.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were willing to sell off some of their guys and feel like they could start to turn over the roster. I don't think they're willing to do what the Jazz are doing or what the Wizards are doing.
Right.
And that's why they're going to be in the 9th spot or whatever instead of the top 4 spot.
Yes.
We'll see what happens in the lottery. But like to me, I think they're still broad strokes right now doing the right thing, which is turning over the roster. I just don't think that and staying young and building around the core that they've identified, agree or disagree with who those guys are. But I don't think that they've really put themselves in a position where, okay, now we have like 4 extra first-round picks, or now we have, a top 4 pick coming. Like they just still haven't done anything that meaningfully changes their upside.
Right.
And they'll have to get lucky with that in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Whether it's lottery luck or a guy falls to them or whatever it may be. But there's nothing tangible that I can point to of they set this thing up right. And they still have time. Yes, I do think they have to go through this offseason again before I can really evaluate it. But I'm not feeling very confident about that at this point, given what the results of the last few weeks have been.
Ghost in the chat saying it's pure insanity that AK is being given the opportunity to run this teardown and rebuild again.
I agree.
I agree completely. And that's the thing. Like, and Go, you were kind of saying this on one of our recent episodes that like AK in his own weird way, because he didn't prioritize selling high on a team that was going nowhere to get legitimate first-round draft capital for the assets he did have, is going the roundabout way of collecting these players who were recent former first-round picks and lottery picks in this weird Frankenstein's monster of a roster, and to get like first-round picks that way. Players who also have experience in the league. Shout out to AK, his favorite thing. But to me, like, what is more likely? AK has stumbled upon the new most brilliant way to form a roster that will actually be competitive and legitimately contend in the Frankenstein's monster way of all of these former lottery picks. Josh Giddey, Jaden Ivey now, Rob Dillingham you can add to that category. Okoro and Smith. Heck, even Collin Sexton was a former 8th overall pick who had 2 different trips. Cleveland didn't work out. Utah didn't work out. Charlotte, part of the season, didn't work out. That he's going to take these teams' cast-offs and turn them into something beautiful together? What's more likely? That being the reality that we're all about to witness together? or that he doesn't know what he's doing and is grasping at straws in the corner that he has backed himself into. Honestly, which one of those do you think is more likely? Because I know my vote.
The corner.
It's the freaking corner and grasping at straws.
The corner. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anything like if there were first round picks out there for these guys, I think they would have taken them. I mean, and maybe you could argue that that's not even fair to say given the Giddey Caruso situation. I think that they probably would have taken the best package available, and presumably that would have included picks for some of these guys since that was the direction that they went. I don't think it's bad to take chances on guys like Jaden Ivey or Rob Dillingham. I just don't think you can sit here and say like there's so much more upside in Isaac Okoro and Jalen Smith at this point. Like they're good players, but they're not like uncovered stars that are gonna like that's just not, and it's like that's okay, but at a certain point, like you need to hit in the draft, and whether that's finding a guy at 11 or winning the lottery, like that just needs to happen, and there aren't any more chances at that than their own pick, which is the same flaws that we talked about in 2017 and 2016 and 2019. Like that's just, it's the same thing being repeated again.
As we head to just a little bit of overtime here on CHGO Bulls, if you're watching on one of our streaming partners, shout out, thanks for being here, thanks for tuning in. If you want the bonus coverage, just head allchgo.com. Euro saying I have the Fred Durst look and energy. Break stuff. By stuff, I mean AK's contract.
Just one of those days where Matt just,
it's just one of those. Up. You know what? I mean, I will not so humbly flex and say that I was part of a crowd at a concert in my much long ago youth that booed Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit off the stage because they were one of too many openers for Metallica in a show back in the day. This is the early aughts for you youngins.
Okay,
Saint Anger days. Or
it was the Saint Anger tour.
Days? Okay.
Summer of 03. To be young.
Mission Impossible 2.
And Fred Durst was just on stage doing his obnoxious Fred Durst shtick, and the crowd was not having it. And to a point where we just booed him off the stage because we were ready for Metallica.
I had no idea who Fred Durst was. I thought it was that this was a comment about Robert Durst. And then I realized that was Robert and not Fred.
The two are oft confused.
Yes.
That's where my mind went.
That is awesome.
No, look,
that is really awesome.
Getting back on track to wrap up here. I have seen some people say, like, well, because AK has made this move or that move recently, or this sequence of moves, or hey, at least he finally did this, or hey, at least he got this out of that. That let's give him a little longer of a leash and see what he does with this new group of players that he's assembled. Whoever feels that way is right to that opinion. I think it's freaking nuts.
Well, we've also seen this play out with the Bears several times where you had, I'm going to probably butcher the order of the coaches and GMs, but like, who is it? Ryan Pace drafts Justin Fields and then and brings in a coach, and then he gets fired. The coach and the quarterback are still there, and then they bring in. It's like the same cycle. I think it's seeming like that's what's going to happen.
Phil Emery before that.
Yeah.
Oh, not Phil Emery.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh,
where
man.
like they're going to probably invest a lot into this roster this summer by signing guys to long-term deals.
Right.
In 2 years, it seems this is what people think. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but this is what the kind of assumption right now is that Arturas has 2 more years on his contract after this one. So if you invest in guys beyond that period of time and then he loses his job, now the new guy has to come in and just deal with the roster that is underperforming or not good enough or whatever it may be for a couple of years before they can get the flexibility. And so it's like at a certain point, it's better to just like rip off the Band-Aid. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I think just like not even a comment on whether or not like, whatever. I'm just saying like lining that stuff up makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the sense in the world.
But that is the other, harbinger of AK going about things this way is when you get first round draft capital, you sign players to rookie scale contracts and you have those players under team control on team friendly money for as many as, 40 years. going about it this way and taking the cast-off former lottery picks of teams who decide that they are not in that team's future plans, you trade for those players, and then you have to decide how much you want to pay them, assuming you want to keep them. Like, it's not exactly the most, I think, fiscally logical way to go about trying to build a team that is good, built with young talent. It's just a very, very challenging line for AK to navigate.
Yeah.
And so far, I think he's failing at navigating that line.
Yes.
Thus the grade of, hey, I'm not the worst anymore. But
I mean, I will say, like,
28th. I think 28th is fitting.
Top 3 if you look at it upside down.
The whole last iteration of the team is, like, by definition a failure. Like, it failed. They did not. They made the playoffs 1 out of 5 years.
That's a failure.
Flex.
They basically traded all the players and assets that they had.
Expired.
Got second-round picks and expiring contracts. Like that, they didn't gain anything from going through the last 5 years. And that's why it's like there's just no – whether you think that some deals were better or worse, like the overarching vision, the overarching success or failure was a failure. And so I just don't know how high they could possibly be on this list when it just went as poorly as it did, and it doesn't feel like things are actually getting any better.
I mean, hey, Goat, the Madhouse was rocking for that play-in tournament victory over the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, shout out Kobe White.
Yeah, what's their play-in record now? Like 1-2.
Yeah, they won 2.
2-3.
Yeah.
So the first year beat Toronto in game 1,
exactly
then lost to Miami.
Yeah.
Second year beat Atlanta, then lost to Miami. Last year just lost to Miami.
Yeah. Just cut out the middleman.
Woo!
Cut out the middleman.
Sign AK again. Shout out, Brandon.
Shout out, Brandon Bills.
We will get out of here for today. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. Appreciate you. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't done it yet. We are back tomorrow, live pregame, 6:30 Central Time, before Bulls back in action post-All-Star break, beginning that final 27-game home stretch against the Toronto Raptors, who they lost to back on February 5th, good old trade deadline day.
Good old day.
That was a busy day. It culminated in a loss to Toronto. We'll see if the Bulls can get square with them tomorrow or help that tank spin a bit. In the meantime, make sure you're following Will, the Go Gottlieb, Will _Gottlieb. Read his stuff, allchgo.com. Become a diehard so you can read all of it, the very best of it. Big Day Bow, BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls _Peck. We are CHGO _Bulls. Shout out to our king of the controls, the one and only Joey C. Tune in to CHGO Cubs. Follow him, Joey Sports Guy, on Twitter. Have a great Wednesday night. We'll see y'all tomorrow for Bulls Hoops.
Yeah.
See Red, be good.
Love y'all, man. Hey, Julia. Peace.
28.
We all silly like the mayor.